As a huge believer of crypto and blockchain and tokenization, I want the SEC to rapidly approve the tokenization of bonds and stocks.
So that was BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, who has stated now multiple times and very publicly that he wants the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission in the United States, to rapidly approve the tokenization of RWA, real world assets. And chances are that once that happens, we're going to see the RWA crypto sector, and especially a few quality projects in particular, really go to the moon. We've already seen what this news has done to ONDO, ONDO, which is the leader in the RWA crypto space. But today we're going to talk about, what some people may call that project's little brother. If you take a look here at the Plume Network crypto rank IEO chart, we see that its token was already up 147% when it hit its all-time high. Now it's also super close to launching its mainnet, which is very positive. And therefore, there is massive potential here. We're going to analyze this project, take a look at its tokenomics, take a look at its partnerships and recent news, fundamentally how it's doing as a project, and kind of get to the bottom of the question, is this an altcoin gem with 10x potential? But we're going to be critical as well because there is a pretty big risk that you should be aware of when it comes to Plume. I'm going to give you my take on this. Watch to the end of the video. I'll be discussing that in detail. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck if you choose to invest. ONDO, Plume, RWA, otherwise, I genuinely wish you well. Just remember that I'm not a financial or investment advisor, which means by extension, this video is not official financial or investment advice. All right, so top level to begin with here, with the Plume Network, whose token, by the way, is Plume, PLUME. Of course, we're in the real world assets sector, RWA, or actually as Plume calls it, RWAFI. And that's because Plume offers tokenization for retail. That's you, that's me. But that being said, Plume also welcomes institutions to its services. Christian, Teddy Pornprinya, and Eugene Shen are the guys that founded Plume Network just a couple years ago in 2023. This resulted in its token launch in January of this year, so just a few months ago, January 2025. Plume also built a public and EVM-compatible blockchain. The team did this since existing chains cannot deal with all the features that a dedicated RWA chain needs in practice. Plume's chain is built from scratch, which allows it to manage the tokenization process and the tokenized assets. Currently, the chain is still in its testnet phase, but like I mentioned a moment ago, its mainnet is expected to launch maybe this month, maybe in June. And if it's going to be in June, it'll probably be in early June. Its testnet was considered very successful with 18 million wallets and 280 million transactions. So pretty good. Launching its mainnet should give a boost to the protocol. And of course, the token, again, Plume, PLUME. And so the idea here is that Plume brings TradFi on chain and provides it with real utility. It designed its chain for usable RWAs, not for tokenized wrappers. Plume brings traditionally inaccessible assets on chain. So things like private credit, ETFs, commodities. Most importantly, though, you can use them like real DeFi. In other words, that means you can stake, you can swap, you can lend, borrow, or loop these tokenized assets if you want, whatever your jam is. You can use them like crypto native assets. That's the whole point. And that is pretty exciting because it makes Plume Network kind of like an ecosystem that's designed for specifically RWAFI. So first, we're going to see its mainnet launch, which is imminent, like I said. And then after that, you can expect phased onboarding. Each phase is going to unlock more use cases, which will also include more assets, more DeFi integrations. Phase Alpha should be completed pretty much any time now, possibly by the time you're watching this video. That was the first mainnet phase, but it's not public. The Genesis phase is the next step and should also be public. Another cool feature that really stands out is that Plume has the backing of YZI Labs. They invested in Plume. You may not recognize that name. It's a little bit newer, but it represents a rebrand because Binance Labs has now become YZI Labs, YZI, whatever you prefer. So that's a big deal. That represents a huge partner and pretty much the best possible backing you can have in the industry. In terms of how it all works, Plume has 4 core products that kind of makes the whole thing tick. And these are important for us, right, the users. We're going to take a closer look at them now, beginning with the Plume chain. As already discussed, currently we're in testnet. However, mainnet is imminent. And on the Plume chain, you can find 3 core products. The first of those is ARC. This is the tokenization engine, which simplifies bringing RWAs on chain. It is the full stack tokenization engine for real world assets. Next, we have PUSD. Besides its native Plume token, Plume also has this as a stablecoin, PUSD. You can use this for payments, trading, or also as collateral within Plume's RWAFI ecosystem. And finally, there's the Passport for smart wallets. This is the RWAFI wallet. It embeds custody and compliance straight into the wallet, and it offers all the DeFi options while also being compliant. And then in addition, developers also have 3 other tools to help them out, beginning with Skylink. This allows for abstract yield distribution, and it's integrated with Layer 0. Developers also have access to Nexus, which offers efficient real-time data integration. It does this by using oracles. And finally, developers have access, of course, to the Developer SDK. That's an essential tool, of course, for any project. This is the software development kit. Let's talk tokenomics now, and we'll begin with a snapshot of Plume's price, which is just barely above 16 cents. It's up marginally on the day. We have a market cap here at the time of this recording of $391.5 million. So this is a nice kind of mid-range market cap as far as altcoin projects go. Out of the max and total supply of 10 billion Plume tokens, that's total, we have only 2.4 billion are in circulation, so 24%. Now, that's certainly not great as a stat, but to be fair, you could excuse this project for only having 24% of tokens in circulation, given how young it is as a project. Also, as a token, we have Plume, which offers a pretty wide range of use cases. For example, it unlocks real-world yield by using it across dApps. It can be used for transaction fees, of course, on the Plume Network. Governance also, because it allows holders to take part in the network decision-making processes, all that stuff. And then, of course, you can also stake Plume, thus securing the network and earning rewards. It is offered as a reward for taking part in community activities, things like quests, and also referrals. However, and here's that risk that you ought to be aware of that I promised I was going to point out, with this project, vesting is an issue. Vesting started on day 1, and in July, token unlocks are going to become even bigger. Early investors and core contributors are going to add monthly unlocks, so there's a chance that things could get messy here. So that has to be said, but with this final leg, this final chapter of the bull run over the course of the next few months, with the RWA narrative that's getting stronger, that's getting healthier, emissions may get absorbed. That's also a possibility. I'm not guaranteeing it, but to play devil's advocate a little bit, it is a possibility. So watch out for that vesting schedule, but it's not necessarily the end of the world.